Welcome to Murder with the Misses. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy. And today we're going to tell you the story of Amanda Harms. Amanda Harms was a 45-year-old woman living in Muskogee, Oklahoma. She met her husband Eric at Boulevard Christian Church. After they were married, they moved to Illinois, where she got her bachelor's degree in education. She worked as a math teacher while she went on to get her master's. They stayed in Illinois, and she taught for 22 years, and she was known to come in early and stay late to tutor her students. They had 3 children of their own and 1 grandchild, but Amanda and Eric moved back to Muskogee to be close to family around 2 years ago. On Saturday, January 13th of 2024, so just a month or so ago, which is the day before her 46th birthday, Muskogee was preparing for winter weather. It is speculated that she was doing the same, making sure she had provisions in case she was stuck at home for a few days due to the snow. She bundled up and left her house to walk the 3 to 4 blocks to the store to get alcohol and cigarettes. She left her phone and wallet at home and had her credit card in her pocket. It is also believed that as she got closer to the store, she may have realized that she actually didn't have her card. Eric found it on the kitchen floor later, so it is believed that it fell out of her pocket before she even left the house. She didn't go into the store, but surveillance showed, according to the police, that she can be seen flagging down a vehicle on the road next to the store at about 8:40 p.m., and a man stops and picks her up.
It sounds like she was cold and waiting for a ride home. I remember when it was around that, during that time, it was around 3 degrees that night.
Yeah.
Wind gusts were like 25 miles an hour, and the wind chill was like negative 15.
Yeah, it was very cold. Very, very cold. But when she didn't come home that night, the family was immediately worried because of the temperatures outside and the fact that she left on foot. It was dangerous for anyone to be out on a night like that. There was a lot of news and social media coverage asking anyone who knew anything or had seen her to come forward so they could get kind of a timeline together. 2 days after she went missing, the man who picked her up on the road came into the Muskogee Police Department and brought them her gloves, hat, and coat.
Now it gets even more scary because, she's missing and doesn't have any protective covering.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that a man she didn't know prior to this night brought in her stuff.
Right. Like she had no prior knowledge of this man.
Yeah.
Nor him, her.
Yeah.
So it was very scary. But since this all started, there's been several different stories told by this mystery man to different people. He initially told police that he picked her up because she was cold and he took her to his house 3 miles away because he had heat. Now, if she lived 3 to 4 blocks from this store, why would she go with him 3 miles away to his house? That's a burning question.
Yeah.
He did not have hot water, however. So after some time, he left his house to go to a friend's house to take a shower. While he said that Amanda was still at his house at this time, he changes what she was doing each time he tells the story. But he told police that she was laying on the couch, so he covered her with a blanket before he left and left the door unlocked. He was gone for about an hour and 20 minutes. And when he got home, all of his windows were open, and the screen to his living room window was on the ground outside. So he thinks that she left through the window.
But the door was unlocked.
He said the door was unlocked. Yes. So why she would go out the window instead of just walking out the front door is another mystery.
Yeah. No, that's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Now, he said he looked for her, but he couldn't find her. And police did go to his house and they did a walkthrough, like a visual inspection, and found nothing of concern, so they left. They didn't look for any blood. They didn't ask the man more questions. Nothing. And we later found out that this man had an outstanding warrant at the time for violating a protective order that was actually issued on December 27th. But the police never ran his name to be able to see that because They believed that nothing was sketchy about his story of this missing woman. Now, on January 18th, 5 days after she disappeared, her body was found in the backyard of another man. The police originally said that she was found in a shed on the property, which is what you told me when this case first started.
No, I remember when I first read about this, it said, it was like the headline.
Right.
Woman found in shed in Muskogee.
Right.
And that's what I remember telling you that.
Mm-hmm. And it was reported on the news and everywhere else.
Yeah. But anyway, now what are they saying?
Well, they backtracked on that and said that they never said that she was found in a shed.
Lies.
Right. Right. I find it hard to believe that everybody made that up. So either way, so the man actually who found her, he had went out into his yard because he saw a boot. Now his yard is large. Like he has a very big yard for a neighborhood and it's about a half a block. So he sees this boot and he thought someone had just maybe thrown it out or it had fallen out of a vehicle. The wind blew it over, something like that. But when he went over to pick it up, he saw Amanda's body. And the body was half a block away from the boot, but still in the same yard. I hope that makes sense. It's just a big yard. Her other boot was underneath her. She was laying on the ground on her back. She had 1 foot and 1 hand still caught in the fence. That same day, police reported that it looked like she had knocked on the door of the house trying to get in to get warm, and when no one answered, she went around to the back of the house, attempted to climb the fence, got stuck, and succumbed to the elements.
So they said that, she left a warm house without her gloves, hat, or coat to run to another house to get warm.
Yeah.
That just don't add up. And then on top of it, they said that the guy said that she went through a window instead of an unlocked door.
Right.
None of this is adding up so far anyway.
I can tell you what it sounds like, but I'm sure you're probably already there too.
I'm already there, but
it doesn't add up. So let's talk about the house where she was found. To start with, it's across the street from the mystery man's house. So she literally just ran across the street. Why?
She's probably looking for help.
Hello.
That's my guess. She's looking for help.
Hello. Especially if okay, we'll get to that. Anyway. The fence only went around part of the yard and it had an unlocked gate on it. So when I say it only went around part of the yard, I mean it was not really a closed off yard, obviously. She was able to get into the backyard. So there was no gate or no fence, across the front of it. So why not go around the fence?
Yeah.
Either way. But we'll get into some stuff in a minute. But a lot of people are saying that she was frantic or not in a clear state of mind. So maybe she was in panic mode and not thinking rationally, which I can understand. It's cold, you're freezing, possibly scared and fear for your life. And you're not going to think rationally like we are today. Now, this fence is a 4-foot tall chain link fence. I was thinking originally that maybe it was like an 8-foot privacy fence or something that would be difficult to climb, but that's not the case.
Well, so I was thinking, because you said she got wrapped up in the fence, I was thinking barbed wire fence.
Right, that's another thing, because they said that she was caught in the fence, is what the police said, and that's why she couldn't get free and died because she was outside in the cold.
Okay.
Yes, but only 1 hand and 1 foot were still holding onto the fence or in the fence when her body was found. The rest of her body was on the ground. And a 4-foot fence doesn't seem like it would be too much trouble when you're trying to get over it. But without knowing exactly what kind of state she was in at the time, it's kind of hard to speculate.
Yeah.
And lastly, this fence where her body was is completely visible from the road. They did not get enough snow to where, 1, it would have been completely covering her body, or 2, that no one would have been able to see her if they were out and about on the roads during the 5 days that she was missing.
Plus, I find it hard to believe that, she would immediately go into the backyard instead
Right.
of going to the front door of another house next door.
Right.
If I was in an unfamiliar neighborhood, I would be worried about a dog or something in the backyard that could hurt me.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, it's knock on the front door.
Exactly.
I mean, that's my opinion on it.
Plus, around here, we are an open carry state. We do have certain laws where we're allowed to protect our property. So you really don't want to be in someone's backyard late at night.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous situation, animal or not.
Mm-hmm.
But this story only made sense to the police. The preliminary report from the medical examiner said that there was no lethal trauma or sexual assault detected. Abrasions and scratches on her face, legs, and arms were consistent with where and how her body was found. Hypothermia couldn't be proven as a cause of death right off the bat, but it also couldn't be ruled out. And no foul play was suspected at any time. The initial toxicology report said no illicit substances were found other than alcohol and benzos, which is Xanax, which her family says that she does take to sleep. And the family stated in interviews that it is believed that Amanda quietly suffered from alcohol abuse, but was cautious about drinking and taking her medication together. These are initial findings, so we'll have to wait until the actual lab tests come back. But another thing was that they found no blood in the yard where her body was found. So she has abrasions, scratches. We'll get into a little more later, or here in a second. But there was no blood there. So that was another odd thing to me.
Yeah.
Now, the family has a different report on the state of her body. They, with a heavy heart, felt the need to post a couple of pictures of her injuries on the Justice for Amanda Harms Facebook page to show what the reports are not reporting. According to the family, Amanda had 2 black eyes, a busted eye socket, which is the orbital bone, a broken nose, and a busted lip. There was lots of bruising that they saw when they removed some of her makeup from her nose. So the question here is, if she was trying to climb a fence and fell, landing on her back, how was there so much trauma to her face? It doesn't look like maybe she fell on her face and then rolled over, or I would think her hand and foot would have come out of the fence.
Yeah, that would have made more sense, but, the way she was found doesn't match up with the police theory.
Not at all.
I don't know, man.
He's at a loss for words.
No, I'm not at a loss for words. I got a lot of words I want
True.
to say. It's just, it's all speculation. I mean, it's
Right.
just one of them things that sometimes you got to watch what you say.
Correct. Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah,
Don't jump to conclusions. All the fun stuff.
exactly.
Now, Mandy's younger sister is an attorney, and she found out from the ME that they have sperm samples, fingernail clippings, and her Fitbit to test. While we're waiting on the new reports on DNA and cause of death, the family was able to access the Fitbit information. It shows that no steps were taken after 10:30 p.m. on Saturday night, and it registers a heartbeat until almost 3 a.m. Now, with the low temperatures, wind chill, wind gusts that night, it's estimated that hypothermia sets in quick, and death could have occurred in under an hour. So if caught in the fence at around 10:30, her heart should have stopped well before 3 a.m. if hypothermia was the cause. The Fitbit also shows 3 instances of climbing one story of stairs at 8:15 to 8:30, again at 8:45 to 9, and finally at 9:45 to 10. The family has also been hearing so many different stories. They have had people tell them information and then just completely ghost them when they try to ask more questions. And they also had some women tell them something while Amanda was missing. Then when they went back to ask after they had found Amanda, They went back to ask more questions to talk about them, and the women said that Muskogee PD told them not to talk to the family whatsoever. And another piece of information is, remember when the police originally said she was found in that shed? The shed is now gone.
Really?
Completely gone.
So even if the reports, come back that she was murdered, they can't even investigate the part of the crime scene now.
Right.
Because it's gone.
Now they're saying that there was no crime in the shed, but they originally said, we all know this.
Yeah.
So even if they needed to, they can't do anything now. Plus the fact that they didn't really investigate the house that she was last seen at. So if you don't look in there, now it's been months or almost 2 months now.
So is this like the shed of the mystery man?
Nope. This was the shed in the backyard of the house where she was found across the street.
Really?
Yes. There were 2 sheds originally there, and 1 shed
Is missing.
Yes.
Okay. Suspicious.
Yes. Very. And talking about the stairs, her climbing some sort of 1-story stairs, there's also reports that the house next to this, it was a rental house on Zillow, but now it's for sale or has been sold. But it has a staircase on the outside of the house leading up to the 2nd story.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So there's also speculation of maybe at some point she was in that house or tried to get into that house. But there was the 1st and 2nd instances were very close together. And the 3rd instance was like an hour later. So why she would be outside for that length of time trying to go up and down these stairs is another mystery.
I mean, does any of these houses have basements?
I don't believe so.
You know what I mean? It's just one of them deals. Like, some houses they have a basement floor.
True.
But that would explain.
I don't see anything online that shows that either one of these houses had a basement.
Well, I mean, you're not going to right now because the mystery man is not a suspect. You know what I mean? So.
And I'm not saying that he should have been a suspect, maybe, but he should have been questioned a little more. Let's get real.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely. I mean, because how do you show up with somebody's, article of clothing, a woman that's missing, then shows up dead?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And not get the full work through.
Plus, he had an active warrant at the time.
Exactly. Why not run his name?
They could have ran his name. I mean, he is the last person that saw this person alive.
And he had a protective order. And what was the protective order for?
It was a domestic violence protective order. So now we have a history of violence.
Okay.
And they could have at least caught him on that warrant and held him while they questioned him or searched his house.
Yep.
There's so many things that could have been done.
Probable cause. Probable cause.
He said, let me in, I'll do it.
Huh?
You said, let me in, I'll do it.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's probable cause. I mean, if they would have ran his name and came up with all that, that's probable cause to go search his house.
I mean, it just adds to his...
Just to look, see if they come up with anything.
Because, like I said, so the damage to her lip, her busted lip, the family has said on the Facebook page and in interviews that it was pretty deep and almost went completely through her lip. So that, I don't think, could have happened without some blood somewhere. That's why I mentioned that there was no blood where her body was.
And that, and the one through, it was just a single puncture. That could have been like the top hook of the fence.
Well, there's a little damage up higher towards the nose, and then there's damage right at the lip.
Yeah. Now, it doesn't explain the 2 black eyes. It doesn't explain
the 2 black eyes, the broken nose, the broken orbital bone. So,
because it's chain link fence.
Yes.
I mean.
Yes. And you can watch an interview.
I don't care. I don't care how well built the chain link fence is. It's weak.
They're weak. Yeah, they're really not
they're
sturdy.
Real flimsy. They're not going. You're not going to be able to do that much damage.
It's only 4 foot high. She was over 4 foot tall. So
yeah.
But the family has said, I've watched some interviews that they've done online because they're really trying to get this out there. They're really trying to get some answers. they're trying to get the OSBI, but you can't just call which is the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations. You can't just call them and they drop what they're doing and come running. They don't really listen to families at the beginning. They have to be called in by a police department. Like somebody in authority has to bring them into the case because of jurisdiction and things like that. And they can come and take over a case. So, I mean, they could do that. I'm just saying.
There is some cases where families have written these OSBI or FBI. They would write them, and then there's a point where, Stephen Smith.
Absolutely, yes, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, his mom wrote them until basically they was like, let's go look into this.
Yeah, let's check this out.
You know what I mean? There is ways because they get tired of it. They get tired of all these letters eventually.
Yes, and the family has been reaching out. The family is doing everything that they can because they just want answers.
Absolutely.
And they're not saying that she was like straight out murdered per se, but they want to know what happened because none of it adds up. And they said even if it was like a homicide situation, they would be leaning more towards a negligent homicide as a possibility because even if somebody didn't physically do the act, she was in a position that caused her to die.
I think she was trying to get away.
It sounds like she was taken somewhere without her permission because instead of 3 blocks to her house, it was 3 miles to a stranger's house.
Yeah.
And then
direction, right?
I don't know that.
No, I thought it was in the opposite direction, but
I don't know her address, so I can't exactly see.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I know his address, but we're not going to divulge any of that, and the family won't either. They will not say his name. They will not. They are saying his stories and things like that, but they don't want to throw somebody under the bus if they didn't have anything to do with it. They just want that person to talk.
Because what if this does come out and it's an accident, which I don't believe it, but anyway.
Yeah, so they're just looking for answers. They just want to know what happened. And like I said, this mystery man, I don't even know how reliable his statement would be because and this is just hearsay, the family's getting a bunch of stories from friends of friends. My husband's his best friend or his cousin or his this or that, and they're hearing so many different things. Like one time he said that they were dancing at one point, and then he told another person that he was sitting on the couch while she was dancing while they were drinking. And some reports are that they had intercourse, and some reports are that he chose not to. So there's different things. I'm trying to make it not really gross, but you know what I mean. There's just different stories. They all change each time he tells it, so nobody really knows what happens. And since he was the only person there, it's also odd, even if you didn't have hot water, if you picked up a stranger and brought them to your house, why did you leave them there to go take a shower?
Yeah, exactly.
They did say that they did talk to the person that he went to their house to take a shower, and that person did say, yes, he came. So another theory popped up then that maybe he went there to take a shower so that the blood evidence that was on him or any DNA of hers wouldn't be in his drain should police have come and investigated.
No, facts.
Yeah. So there's a lot of credibility to some of these, a lot of things that we can say as outsiders, this needs to be done or that makes sense. But without an investigation, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating. So the reason we did this case is because, as y'all know, we're in Oklahoma, so it's a close one. And it's just one of those frustrating cases where you wish you could get answers or help in any way, but the police just will not do anything.
Yeah, they're pretty much like it's this.
Yeah.
There's nothing else there can be or whatever. And hopefully they'll open their eyes up and look into it a little deeper.
That's what the family wants.
That's why, more people, like us that bring the story out and everything else, eventually it's gonna come down to the point where they have to.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. That, I mean, yeah, and we're here just to give our opinion and tell a story.
Get the story out there.
Yep.
The more people that talk about it, the more that can be done with it.
So if you guys do have any more, if anybody is listening, if you do have information on this case, feel free to email us at dna.truecrimes@gmail.com, or you can go to the Facebook page.
Yes. And there is also a Justice for Amanda Harms Facebook page.
Yep.
The family would be more than happy if you could reach out to them directly if you have any information, because they're following up on stuff, because it's another one of those cases where the family's doing the investigation. So they're following up on leads. They're trying to get information. So
Absolutely.
if you definitely can reach out to them as well.
Yeah, and and if you got information and everything, don't, like she was saying, that, like you was saying, whenever they'd give them some information and then
Right.
ghost them. Don't ghost them. If you got information, stick with it until it's done. You know what I mean? Stick with them through your information, and if it comes up with something, hey, great. If it doesn't,
Put yourself in their shoes.
yeah. What if this was your kid?
I would want everybody singing like canaries.
I mean, they got to have some kind of there's got to be something out there that everybody's missing.
Well, it's just one of those things. We'll get more once the stuff comes in, the autopsy, the toxicology,
Yeah.
the official reports come in. Hopefully it comes in and shows more than what they initially thought, and they'll actually open an investigation and start going around, because people around here really like to talk, and all you got to do is find that person that
Yep.
really can't shut up.
All it takes is one.
Just takes one.
Yeah.
And we'll keep following the story, of course.
Yep. And we will do a part 2 on this as soon as we get more information on this case.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. I think that'll wrap this one up for now until we get more information.
Well, we appreciate you guys listening.
100%.
Tune in on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the other.
Apple iTunes.
Yeah, all of them. Well, you guys have a great day.
Bye.